live in Victoria, British Columbia, on the southernmost tip of Vancouver Island in the traditional territory of the Coast Salish people. In my time scuba diving here in the Pacific Ocean, I became inspired seeing the kelp's beautiful, rhythmic, almost seamless movements as it ebbs and flows amid the endlessly churning water. Initially, it seemed to me that this natural underwater beauty was privy only to scuba enthusiasts who descend under the sea, and that its visceral imagery could not be effectively replicated beyond the use of underwater photography. Well, walking along a secluded stretch of shoreline on southern Vancouver Island, I noticed walking stick kelp strewn all along the seashore. Like some other form of seaweed, it naturally releases itself from the ocean floor and eventually makes its way onto the upper section of the beach, known as the spray zone. The spray zone is more a part of the land than the ocean. It is submerged only at very high tide events or during severe storms, but it is repeatedly dampened by splashing waves and literally wind-blown spray. This specific zone creates an ideal setting where the seaweed can dry very slowly in the sunlight and in a manner that reflects its previous underwater marine environment. It eventually becomes as solid as hardwood, and that is the product that I harvest. My personal form of expression manifests itself in visual art pieces comprised of walking stick kelp and repurposed ceramic pottery. It is a mixed media form of art that combines different components to form what is ideally a harmonious and aesthetically pleasing final product. Walking stick kelp, also known as Pterogophora californica, is a very unique medium to work with that grows throughout much of the Pacific Ocean's coastal regions. During the underwater or immersed portion of its life cycle, it stays fastened to the seafloor, its leafy stems reaching upward through the depths to collect as much sunlight as possible. Walking stick kelp assumes a place of great importance in terms of intertidal and nearshore ecosystems. It is directly pertinent to natural processes such as energy capture, energy transfer, and nutrient cycling, and it also provides a three-dimensional habitat and defensive setting for a vast array of marine plants and animals. My parents are hardworking people who instilled creativity in their children from a young age. My mother exposed us to a wide range of art. As an accomplished woodworker, my father has always been very tactile and hands-on in terms of his creativity, involving us children in his crafting of wooden sculptures, furniture, and a wide range of interesting items. To harvest the seaweed specimens, which I do several times a year, I travel to select locations on southern Vancouver Island. These journeys are actually very important to me as I often involve my children, so I can try and instill in them not only an appreciation of the creative process, but also of the symbiotic interconnectedness of all things. After collecting the kelp specimens, I also gather an assortment of rocks from the shoreline, various sizes, colors, shapes, and so on. These rocks are then used to accentuate the base portion of each piece, giving them an aesthetic whereby they reflect the colorful seabed setting from which the kelp actually sprouts and reaches up towards the surface. For the ceramics, I use locally sourced, repurposed materials that have a distinct character and integrate harmoniously with the kelp and the rocks. Creating the pieces takes considerable time and effort. It is a delicate and labor-intensive process that requires very good preparation and planning. Every piece is completely unique in its own right. I start with building a vision of exactly how I want it to look, and then I go about choosing the materials in a purposeful manner. From the shape and size of the seaweed to the myriad of colors reflected in the rocks, to the patterns and style of the ceramics. Each piece has a distinct identity,